Louie C. the Mayor checking in. What is going on, my people? Another fabulous, wonderful day in paradise. I'm so glad that we dodged a hurricane, boy. What a blessing. We was overdue. Thank you, FloridaKeysEnergy.com. Lord, throw accidents in the keys. If you have an accident in a car, moped, bicycle, or God forbid in that big ocean, go to FloridaKeysEnergy.com, 302 Southern Street. Locals taking care of locals. Advanced Urgent Care Key West Marathon in Key Largo. Dr. Burrows will be back on the show this Friday. And we got the AUC 89, finally, affordable health care in the Keys for $89 a month. It is a fabulous program. And man, oh man, 20 years been trying to find some new Cuban food around town. Have you found paradise? 124 Duval Street. A little bit hard to find. But when you find paradise, you're going to be a happy camper. Who is Michael Knowles on production today? And here we go. The world according to Fats. Tony, Yaniz, what is going on, my friend? Let me get my mask on here. So
I just thought maybe, with the glasses and stuff, we were doing straight out of Compton or straight out of Bahama Village. But you know what? I'm going to take mine off too then, since, you being straight up here. We
put mine on. I'm going to put mine on.
We could deal with this. I hope you like my mask. I want it to be a little, a little dangerous today, because hanging around with you.
Let me see what happens. Matt, Fats is taking a breather. We're gonna put me and him got a mask.
I got mine on, Bill. I got mine on, Bubba.
So do me a favor right now.
Yeah.
So those of y'all that are watching, please hit the notification button right over here. Woo! And those of y'all watching worldwide on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel right over here. Woo! And Fats, a lot of people coming in don't know you. Tuning in from all over. Can you give them a little introduction of yourself?
Just real simple. I've been. My family first came to Key West in 1871 on my mama's side, and on my daddy's side in 1926. So I got history here. I was honored enough to be able to serve my community as a city commissioner for 4 years, and other than that, Louie, just like you, I've been a community activist for the last 45 years. Just trying to make community better, and you know my hashtag, community first. That's what I'm all about.
The world according to Fats. So we're gonna take all questions, any type of questions that you got. Commissioner Yaniz is gonna answer them. So come on in. Look, Fats, you got some people checking in. You see them right there?
Yeah. Hey, Renee, I hope you got that lobster enchilada recipe. I don't give that out to too many people, especially to hardcore right-wing Republicans. But hey, I love you and I love Bill, so I hope you make the best out of that lobster enchilada, because I make the best. I'll bring you some next time.
You conk in and conk out. Look, she asked you a question. You see that?
What? No mask?
No, right here.
What'd she say? What is it? Fantasy Fest? Yeah, right. Exactly. It's a mask. It's a mask. So I want it to be a little intimidating today, cousin.
Renee says Michael knows hi. DJ DOS, see that gentleman?
Yes, sir.
He's one of our DJs on Wild 927.
Right.
He went all the way, unfortunately, with the COVID-19 until drastic, and came all the way back. And guess what his job is? What he does for over 20 years. NYPD. He escorts high-risk individuals all over the city. So New York was hot at one time. Thank God that it slowed down and they're on the other side of that. And I think we're coming on the other side of that too. He says, what's up, y'all? DJ DOS, check him out. Look, there he is.
Yes, he likes that.
Yeah.
One thing that...
I have to step my game up.
We were talking a little bit earlier about COVID-19, and I think one of the big things that gives us a lot of hope is that doctors are learning that you can't treat it like pneumonia or like the flu. So what they're doing now big time is, believe it or not, Louie, they're giving people blood thinners, because there was an issue where you'd form microscopic blood clots in your lungs, and you couldn't transfer oxygen for CO2. So the death rate going down is because our medical facilities and our doctors and our healthcare work in this country have worked hard to try to find a way to save people's lives. So shout out to everybody who works in the field, from the ambulance drivers to the nurses and the doctors and the people who clean up the hallways. God bless you. Thank you so much. We owe you.
Man. Who is this guy, Bill Francis? Man?
What did he say?
He says, I thought it was his teeth. Boy, he always clowning.
Bill? If you mess with me, I'm going to bite you with these. Bill's a good man.
All love.
Bill's a good man.
Renee, thank you for staying in. We got a lot of subjects we're going to talk about today. All good on the podcast. And DJ DOS, blessing to you too, sir. So, Fats, let's get to the meats and potatoes.
Blood raw? Blood raw. We're going blood raw, right?
1,000,000%.
All right.
What's your election recap?
You know, I sat here that night and I did a lot of thinking, and I told you that Terry would win outright.
Yep.
Terry is a consummate professional. You know, she made over 5,000 phone calls. That's very, very strong. She had a very strong team, a strong background, and quite frankly, I think Rick, and shout out to Rick, nice guy, he came in late. And quite frankly, and I keep saying I love Mark, I do, but I think Mark wasn't really ready for it. You know, when you go up against a dragon, you better bring a big sword. And
you know what I'm calling Ricky Haskins? Mm-hmm. Rookie of the Year.
No doubt. And by the way, and Rick, if you're watching, I think Rick has got a great future in Key West politics. I think he's a likable guy. And I said this last time around. Rick Haskin has never turned anybody in the community down for Little League, for AIDS help, for Smart Ride. For you go to Rick Haskins, Rick opens up his wallet, and I have a lot of respect for that.
And congratulations, Madam Mayor Terry. She did an outstanding job. She know how to run an election top to bottom. So, Fats, I hate to see it. I hate to say this, but the election was over before it started. When she got that massive jump on 3,300 people, it was over before it started.
You know, one of the things that I find very interesting, and I think it's a microcosm to what's going to happen in November, is that I don't think that ever before you had a 60% vote come through mail-in and early vote. That's huge, Louie.
Critical.
That's huge. I mean, and so when you and I sat here and she polled at 64%, we were going, well, we don't know. But what we didn't know then was that the amount of early and mail-in votes sealed the deal for the two other contenders. So,
tail of the tape, like they do in boxing. Tail of
the tape, exactly.
Billy Wardlow, we was on point on that one.
Yep.
And Clayton Lopez is in the finals, and like we spoke about, it's a real serious situation in November. I believe that Clayton needs to run the best campaign that he ever ran in his time living in order to make it happen, because it's not going to be easy.
You look, first of all, I want to say Clayton's done a lot of amazing things for this community. He's always been my hero. Clayton was involved in civil rights when he was barely a teenager. Him and I have fought on the same side many times. But I think what happened to Clayton is Clayton got a little rusty. Yep. When you ain't in the ring for a long time, you know this. He was a little rusty.
Yep.
But I think that quite frankly, and I was wrong that night. I said that Ryan would win that district. Not that I was hoping for that, but just trying to keep it real here, being blood raw. And I really think that the outcome of that race will be decided by whoever John Smith supports. He pulled 15+% of the vote. That's a lot of votes. However, in all fairness, discussion you and I had, that is a small district.
Yes.
I think you mentioned less than 80%.
78 votes.
Yeah, 88. Votes. And I think that Clayton can pull it off. I think Clayton is one of the most positive people I ever met. I think Clayton needs to stay positive. Clayton's been a fantastic public servant. And that's the message he needs to send across. And there's one thing I can tell you about Clayton right now. Win, lose, or draw, Clayton Lopez will be a community activist till the day they put him in the ground. And I will always be side by side, shoulder to shoulder with him. So.
You know where I stand. I'm 1,000,000% behind Clayton Lopez, and I'll do anything to help him. But we got to get to it, because, like I said, you sitting up there, you can't do anything without 4 votes. It's very tough to get anything done, and you have to work with people. You got a couple people coming in here, so you want to take that one right there?
What is Bill Francis? What's going on with the entrance to Key West? Looks terrible. That's an area there that actually I believe that the Rotary Club. I know when I was part of the Rotary Club, they were in charge of that entranceway. But Bill, I think you're right. The mayor and whoever else, community service, needs to keep that area nice. It's the first thing that people see coming to town. But I got to tell you something, my friend. Right now, the issues that we got in this city with the COVID and the lack of cruise ships, etc., taking care of the trees and taking care of the entrance, Bill is going to have to take a back seat right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so
DJ DOS, my man. Pete says, God bless America and all that have sacrificed, risked themselves in keeping the world alive. Amen.
Yeah, I just want to say this, that regardless of whether you are a hawk or a dove and whether you believe in having a great military, a big or not, I think there's one thing for me, and I'm a left-wing liberal, but for me it's real simple. Anybody that's been willing to put on our uniform and stand in front of a bullet, Bubba, when you get out of there, I think that our country, as a debt of gratitude, needs to make sure that you got great medical care, that you have a roof over your head, and that you got food on your table. I don't give a damn about nothing else. You know what? Take care of these people.
This guy Francis, man, he's relentless. Look what he put up here. Can you read that one?
Yeah, Fat, are you watching the RNC? No, Bill, I got all my fill of comedy for the week, and so I don't think that I saw where. Trump's son's daughter gave a great speech, how she was an immigrant, she came in for another country. Bill, tell your Republican friends, Puerto Rico is part of the United States. So she wasn't an immigrant, she just took the plane over from Puerto Rico. These are little things that they should know before they go up there and say things like that.
I don't know who this guy Bill is, but
he's a good man.
He's relentless. Look, there's a legend there. Richard Guzman, what's going on, my man?
Oh, my man.
Need to get out in November and vote. And I have this down here. This is the most important election of a lifetime here in November. We need to really get out the vote and get a high percentage, the highest we ever seen. And it starts one vote at a time. Let me see who else we got here. Ron Bailey, your man.
Boy. And
Ron Bailey.
Again, and every time I'm on here, I'm going to say the same thing to Ron. Ron, when you're ready to run for office, I will be the first one at your door. He's an outstanding young man, and he was a big supporter of my campaign. But that's not why I'm saying what I'm saying. He's a guy who really loves the community. If you run, you're welcome to use my hashtag community first, because I know it's where your heart is. But let me get back to the vote. I think I told you last time we had a federal election, we had 46% voter turnout. That's embarrassing.
Travesty.
I mean, it's embarrassing. I've always felt that voting should not be a right, but a duty, a responsibility. You should go out and vote. And if you don't vote, don't talk to me.
That's the same policy we agree on.
Yeah.
Because if you can't even do the simple thing of voting, then there's no need for me to waste my energy and talk to you about politics. You can't even do the basics. So now we're going to switch it up and talk about cruise ships. In fact, I've come to my conclusion on cruise ships, so I want to share that with you.
Sure.
It's definitely a different opinion than yours. Unfortunately, because of how this thing happened, and we couldn't get anything done with the city. I know you tried to get both sides to the table.
Yes.
It didn't happen, and I think that the city failed in that miserably. So here we are. Right now, there's no turning back. We're going full throttle with the referendum in November. So what it says in the referendum about the amount of passengers, and I've been talking to several colleagues, I personally am not going to be supporting that. I don't think we could live with that amount of people coming off the cruise ships. I think that this could have all been worked out, but as is, there's not going to be any negotiation because it's done. It's too late. It's too late. The horse has left the barn, like you said, and based on what I have there, not that it doesn't have good points, that's where I stand, and I fault that, I'm really disgusted that we didn't at least get that dialogue. We did a dialogue after the fact that I put together. I think it was great, an hour and 37 minutes. This is not my job to do that. That was the city's job. They failed, so now all that comes with this, where we know it's going to be legal stuff going on, all kinds of stuff. I guess we're going to have to go through it, and it's very unfortunate. That's how I feel.
Louie, I reached out to the city commissioners and the mayor's office on, I believe, May 2nd and 3rd, and I said, we need to sit down and have all stakeholders get a chair at the table so we can at least listen to each other. In a place like Miami or a place like New York, it don't matter. But in a place like Key West, if you don't allow all the people that are affected by a major issue to sit down at the table and have their say, then you polarize the community. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of the cruise ships. I think there's one thing that most the large overwhelming majority of people in this community would agree on is that we'd like to see something change with the cruise ships. I don't think that 7, 8, 9, 10,000 people on Lower Duval Street on any day is good for the quality of life. So whether it's reducing it to smaller ships, or reducing it to less passengers, or creating a situation at the outer mole where maybe they get dropped off in the middle of the wall rather than on top of all the other things. I think that one thing most people agree with is there needs to be some change. And that was my starting point. So when originally the Haskell boys and the Benson brothers starting this ban the cruise ships, you know, I reached out to them and I said, look, I think there needs to be a compromise here. And they listened to me and they said, okay, are we going to have a meeting? They were waiting for that meeting and nothing happened. So we're starting to get down short on time. So they just came up with 3 referenda. They're very restrictive. However, the city has said to me that RCL, Royal Caribbean, has already come to town and said, you know, Key West never asked for a change. And we're willing to work with you. And maybe tonight is not the time, but I'm going to tell you, because you and I are both marketing guys, I'm going to tell you how cruise ships should market Key West. I'm not going to do it tonight because we got a lot of things going on here and a lot of things. But where we are on cruise ships right now is that I really, you know, when I had the honor of being on the city commission, they wanted the commission to vote as we should do a study to widen the channel, and I said no. I said we're going to let the voters decide, and I got criticized. I had former commissioners say, you know, that's where you get the big bucks. Remember, I didn't know I got paid, but that's right. You know. And I said no.
It's not big bucks, by the way.
And by the way, credit where credit's due. We had a big debate on the dais, and finally Mark Rossi turned to me and said, Commissioner, you want to leave it to the voters? Leave it to the voters. And that's what we did, and it turned out with a 70%. I got to tell you, you know, I'm getting pretty good at these predictions. I will tell you that this referenda, the first 2 items, no more than 1,350 passengers. The second item, no more than 1,550 people, meaning crew and passengers. That will pass by over 60%. The third referenda, which is providing preferential treatment to cruise ships that are environmentally friendly, that'll pass by over 80%.
No-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer. So.
If you have any questions that you want to ask about the cruise ships, this will be the time right now, because FATS has got this down to the T as far as the information, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, and this is where problem happen, because a lot of people go on social media, they're not informed, they heard it's fact and there's fiction. And bottom line is, this thing is coming as a fact that they're going to vote on this in November, and it's going to be very tough to defeat this. It's just, it is what it is, and unfortunately, this is the way this was handled. So we have to deal with it.
Let me just real quick answer Bill Francis. He gave me, he said,
he's still at it.
Did you see Maximo Alvarez's speech? Wow, great story about Cuba and his dad and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I did. But here's the issue. You know, right-wing conservatives complain about Antifa. You know, Antifa means anti-fascists. Right? So the speech this guy gave was about how his father or grandfather, whatever, fought in Spain on Franco's side against the communists. Well, Franco was a fascist. So if you support that bill, then obviously you support Antifa. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. And listen, Bill, when this is all over and done and we chill out, I would love to take you and Renee, your lovely wife, out to dinner so we can trade more ideas, and love you, brother. So, but getting back to the cruise ships, look. So we did an analysis, okay. The last time we had full statistics from Monroe County. We didn't pull these numbers out of the air, as some people say. Monroe County told us there was 2 million tourists came to Key West in 2018. That's the last time we have full stats, right? So 1 million of them came through the cruise ships. They contributed 8% to the economic pie, about $80 million, okay? The other million tourists, the other 50%, did not come through cruise ships. They came, they rented Airbnbs, they went to the bars, they went to the restaurant. They contributed 92% to the economic pie, or 1 + 1 billion. Who you want to get in bed with?
So, I hear you.
Okay?
if you guys got any questions about cruise ships or anything in general, come on in. Let's go ahead and talk about some else facts right now. Why are restaurants still operating on limited hours?
You know, I don't know if that's. I know that Mayor Johnson the other day said she would allow the bars inside restaurants to reopen. There's a lot of there's a lot of confusion. You know, I work in the hospitality industry,
right? And
we scratch our head every day because one day is you can have a barbecue grill, next day is close the grills, open the grills, ice machines. There's a lot of stuff going on out there. What worries me, you know, a couple of the major colleges, I think the Tar Heels, UNC and Notre Dame, they opened the schools. You know, there was 200 people in a pool drinking. Again, we're human beings or social animals. So at the end of the day, can you open up the restaurants? Can you open up the bars? You can. But if you really expect there's going to be social distancing in bars, Louie, it ain't going to happen.
Well, here's my take on this.
Sure.
First of all, we're blessed to have US 1 be able to be closed like nowhere in the world, right? So we did that. And I got to keep it blood raw. If it wasn't for the governor, we would still be shut down from March 17th. We still would not have opened. Okay. Right. So now these are as close as you can get to facts. So then what happened? They said, well, we got lobster season. They pretty much say have a sign. It's might as well comparable to having a sign said tourists not wanted, because that's how they made it. They made it tough. They didn't want people to come in for the lobster season. Okay. We're going to see an uptick. So I'm with the doctor on a daily basis, weekly program. I've been on this since day one. And the reality of it, we did not have an uptick. We had a downtick. Number two, we're not a hot spot. We're not lukewarm. We cold as ice. Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach is a whole different ballgame. So lobster season is for two days. This was for a month. Then, as I told people, when we go back to vote again, then I said they're going to vote to continue to limit the hours. What happened? We got 1 hour. Why did we get 1 hour? Because we applied a lot of pressure behind the scenes to get that 1 hour. So unfortunately, like you say, drastic situation called for drastic action. So what I'm doing is Operation Outvote Heather, 305-289-6000. Call David Rice. I need 1,000 people to call and just give them your story on what's happening, because some people would not be around here much longer. We already lost hundreds and hundreds of people, and we can't sustain it. So we have to live with the COVID and deal with it as best we can. In 1918, you had a pandemic. It lasted 4 years. We're not going to resolve this in 2 days. We're going to collapse Duval Street. Businesses are we going to be Operation Bankrupt, because that's where we headed. Enough is enough. So we got two commissioners, Cold Iron and Cates, that stuck to their guns and said, you know what, enough is enough. And I'm not budging on 12:30, 12:60, 12:53, 2 o'clock. They want it returned. So if we get this third vote, it's real simple. You get 3 votes, it's done. 0 cases the other day, one case yesterday. We're doing very well. I think we need to get open. Now, what you said, to elaborate, it's true. It's going to be tough to have a lot of control within the bars, but it's your responsibility to abide to the laws, and if you don't, you get dealt with. I don't have a problem with enforcement. So if you can't control it, then they got to close you down by force.
Look, let me give you a little bit of statistic stuff. Okay, when we reopened up US 1, within 3 weeks, 4 weeks after that, our cases went up 1,200%. Now, yes, we're making a lot of advances in the way that we treat it. And some things are just, you can't stop them. People are human beings. Where I disagree with the city is, for example, I work at a resort, you know that. So if the city shows up and Louie's laying out there with his beautiful girlfriend and Louie doesn't have a mask on, they're going to give me a fine. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with that. Because we go out 20 times a day and tell them to put their mask on. They put it on, as soon as we walked away, they drop it down. So I think that the city needs to, if they're serious about this and you're not wearing a mask, and by the way, I have a big issue that the city's picking on locals rather than tourists. I understand tourists are money, but you got to be straight across the board. I said to you,
don't the laws apply for terrorism?
Absolutely. And I said to you, this decision to be a tourist town was made in the 1930s. when the federal government sent Julius Stone down, and we opened up the aquarium, et cetera, et cetera. And look, we don't have oil drilling, we don't have heavy-duty manufacturing, we have tourists. People that want to come down, have a happy time, have a few cocktails, and spend money. But let me flip it real quick, because you'll see how it segues right into it. I told you, I'm a big fan and a big proponent of having cruise ships stay overnight.
I love that.
Different kind of cruise ship passengers. One of the things those statistics showed us is the average cruise ship passenger spends $32 in Key West. Okay, so people tell me, my brother who I love, mi hermano Bill Lay, no, it's not 32, it's 52. So what? The whole bottom line is that I think that you have to market Key West a little different. I don't know what's going to happen in Mallory Square, but remember, Mallory Square only brought in 9% of the passengers. The majority, the meat and potatoes, is the Westin. They brought in 64, 65% of the passengers.
That's private, right? Private.
Yeah, it's a private. So at the end of the day, for sure, Outer Mole should be a 100% overnight stays. You know why? Because those people go to the bars, those people go to the restaurants, those people go to the art galleries, those people go to the jewelry stores, and they want to spend time. Because otherwise, they feed you 3 meals and all the snacks you want on the cruise ship, and you're just not going to spend any money. So we will spend one time if you want here, because I have a game plan on how the cruise ship industry could market Key West successfully. It has to do with our history, it has to do with our fine dining, it has to do with the attitude of the people who live here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that there is a way to do it. I know that people are going to get hurt by this, they're going to lose their jobs. Somebody said to me, are you mad at the bar pilots for filing the lawsuit? Are you mad at them? No, this is America. You know what? We have a democracy, people vote, but you have the right to file a lawsuit if you feel you've been treated unfairly.
Absolutely.
So no, I'm not mad at the bar pilots. I see that the Walshes just filed another lawsuit. No, I'm not mad. No, I'm not mad. But here,
hold on. They filed another one?
Yeah, they filed another lawsuit. Basically the same premise.
Okay.
Blah blah. And
I didn't see that.
Judge Lawrence King ruled on the first one that you cannot disenfranchise a popular vote. Gotcha. So here's what happens. Let's say hypothetically on this lawsuit that Judge King or whoever the judge is, I think it's going to be Martinez or somebody in Monroe County. Let's say that they say, nope, you can't vote on this in November. We're going to allow the cruise ships to continue. Well, you know what's going to happen then, Louie? What's going to happen then is what happened with the stores on Duval Street, the rip-off team. You're going to have, when the cruise ships pull in, you're going to have 2,000 or 3,000 locals here with signs saying, we don't want you here. And that's terrible, because we're not that way.
That was very ugly.
But our democracy is based on one man, one vote, one woman, one vote, one person, one vote. And let's allow our citizens to vote on this. Then if somebody wants to challenge it in court, I have no hard feelings. So
okay, and we're going to do a whole show here on cruise ships to get to the meats and potatoes, and maybe we'll invite some people, and we'll get to that, because it's the world according to the facts. But one thing we do is agree to disagree, and as long as we don't have disrespect at all, you're more than welcome to say whatever you want to say. But I do want to ask you something, and then we'll get to these people. Okay?
Sure.
So can you explain, there's a thing, do you know what the COVID police is?
The COVID police, no, I don't.
Okay, so I came up with a term called COVID police, which means that people that have no business being in certain places, they go out intentionally to take pictures of this one, that one, bars, and they usually wouldn't be downtown, so they add to the problem instead of the solution.
Of course.
Can you please tell what I refer to as the COVID police, you knowing this better than anybody, that it's impossible for the city to enforce this block to block, square inch to square inch? Can you explain it as best you can, that it's just not going to happen? We don't have a manpower to do that.
You know, when I was a commissioner, I met with a lot of constituents. It was my favorite part of the job, really, to reach out to the community. And a lot of people would go, oh, you know, they're not trimming the trees, or the cars are parking in the wrong spot. And you know what? We need 50 code enforcement officers, right, to do their job. Now, these people that are taking it upon themselves to go out and take photographs or whatever, if it makes you feel good. But quite frankly, we're not going to be able to enforce it.
Thank you.
One of the things, a good friend of mine, Frank Garcia, he's married to one of my nieces, Chelsea, And one of the things he said, he was an ex-cop from Sweetwater. And he said to me, you know, let's meet with the police chief. I have a program where we pay for people to be deputized. So that, for example, in Fantasy Fest, my God, we have 80,000 people in Fantasy Fest, and we have 100, 120 law enforcement officers. Are you kidding me? So there is a way to be able to help. I mean, I would, if they let me be deputized, I would gladly, although my wife Becky says I can have a badge, but not a gun. So, but yeah, I think what they're doing is adding fuel to the fire. And it's a very, very, very scary situation. And it's going to be one that we're going to, look, listen, human beings are amazing. Ready? You got to wear a mask, right? All of a sudden, look at the mask. Michael here's got a American flag. I got a badass ass chewer, whatever the hell I am. So we've taken something, a catastrophe, and we are marketing it, which is the American way. So I think that this epidemic, they're learning how to better treat it, and that's the key.
And I want to be clear on this too. I don't think nobody is doing a bad job in the city or in the county.
No.
There's different philosophies. You know, there's leadership that runs a certain way, timid. There's other ones that, you know, over the top, somewhere in the middle. I think it's good. So I don't say this to basically break anybody's chops, but I really get offended when people don't add to the solution and continue to add to the problem. You know, they put photos up that were 3 years ago on a certain bar. Then you know what the city manager will tell you? So as soon as you open this up and you get people that say that you can go to the bar, sit at the bar now, he's going to get the city switchboard is going to go off the rails. Yeah. And then he says, please take back, because just because they saying that don't mean it's happened. Right. But that's what's going to happen. The last thing that I really don't like is the knee jerking. You have to get the information. Right. And just because 3-4 people said something, because a lot of people don't know how to judge capacity. Me and you are in the business, right? So we look at a place, we could say, okay, well, you know, there's 120 people, 110. But some people look at it and think it's 318 people in there, and it's not true. I got a phone call, this is a true story about, oh, they got this many people from the city for sure. I said, well, they might be telling you that, but I just did a count one by one. They don't have 119 people, they got 43 people. It looked like it's 210, but it's really only 43. So bottom line is be part of the solution and not the problem, and we'll move forward because we need everybody on the same page.
You know that, I don't know if you know that, but that's a quote from John Kennedy, JFK.
Which one?
If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. That's a great quote. But look, here's how I see this COVID thing playing out. Testing is getting better. Hopefully we're working on a vaccine. We're finding some drugs that seem to work.
Yes.
Doctors are changing their protocol on how to treat a patient. So we're starting to get a grip on it.
Right.
And I see good things coming. I don't see a vaccine coming for 6 months to a year. Again, it took Jonas Salk 25 years to develop the polio vaccine, but back in them days, they didn't have cell phones. Right. You know what I mean? They send a messenger pigeon with the, So I think things will get better, and I think as you start seeing that, I think that you're going to start seeing, municipalities be able to open up a little more and allow, again, what nobody wants to talk about really when they talk about the pandemic is the economic catastrophe.
Especially for the service industry.
Exactly. Well, that's what we are.
Right.
Like people say, well, the cruise ship things and now stores are closing. No, the stores are not closing because of the cruise ships. The stores are closing because of the COVID-19 situation where people don't want to come. That my resort, we're at 50% occupancy the last 4 weeks. Right. They don't want to come. But as things get better,
you haven't touched 100% this whole time.
Oh, no.
Not one time.
Not one time. And if you know what, as medication gets better, as treatment gets better, and here's the other thing I'm seeing, more people are wearing their masks.
Yes.
And again, it's a fashion statement, Michael. I love your mask. I wish we could show it to people, but it's getting to the point that now, I get up in the morning, I say, well, this shirt goes with these pants, and which mask goes with this, right?
Swag.
Right, exactly. So I think that we're learning, and it's a learning package. But
also we're going to get to. So what I like about you is that you offer solutions. Now you might say some stuff that people definitely might have an issue with,
right?
But it's the United States, like you said. There are going to be people that have an issue. At least you're out there giving your time and adding to the solutions, which is great. That's why I love you. I respect you. So if you have any type of stuff that you want to bring to the table, then bring it, but don't bring negativity to the table. Please hit the notifications button right over here. Whoop! And those of y'all watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. Just hit right over here. Whoop! Go ahead. Mike's story been waiting for a while, so go ahead. It's all you, Fats.
Yeah. So Mikey says, what city annual events are you against? I'm not against any of them. I love the vet parade. I love the Christmas parade. As a matter of fact, we took a 17-foot penguin on a float at the Christmas parade last year. I love the vet parade. It's one of my favorite ones. I love Fantasy Fest. I'm not against any of those things. And look, at the end of the day, we have a good time. It brings in tourist dollars. That's what it's all about. I'm not against any of them. What I want to know is, what do we do? What do we do if we can't control a pandemic and we have 80,000 people here in Fantasy Fest?
I'm the first one to tell you, like Fantasy Fest, I come from the school of shooting a Hail Mary. It just wasn't in the cards because the decision had to be made. Right. And if you had to make that decision at that time when they made it, you don't have to go to rocket scientist school, know that it just can't happen. But we have to meet halfway. It can't be all the way on the right and all the way reckless. And to me, it's an injustice what's going on with the operating hours. Like me and Dr. Burrows say, the COVID don't have a turn-off time. Is the COVID going to turn off at 12? Is it going to be at 10? No, and guess what? They didn't force you, put a gun to your head to go somewhere. You still have the ability to go places.
Stay home.
Or not go. And this is where I'm at. There he is right there. But that boy is serious.
Let me say this to you. I think that getting input from everybody is such an important thing to do, because we make decisions as a community. So we have to look at the overall package and how we're gonna deal with that on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. Because things are turning on a dime. So you got to be able to react quickly and do the kind of things that you think need to be done.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fats, can you tell people how they find you on Facebook? Because I know you put a lot of solid information on your Facebook page. So where can they find you if they want to send you a friend request? Or
it's under Anthony and J, middle initial J, and the last name Yaniz, Y-A-N-I-Z, and I'm running 4,000 or 5,000 people at this point, and I really like it because after I got out from my commission seat, I decided I wanted to be even more involved as a community activist. So I stay on top of that, and I try to answer everybody.
Yeah, and we appreciate you, because I know you on top of the game, and at the end of the day, you want things to be good for the community.
Let me say this. When I was a city commissioner, and even in my life today as a boss where I work, and I think we're on the same page on this, anybody can tell you, you know what, that color paint doesn't look any good. Here's what I say. Okay, what color paint do you think would work? Don't bring me a problem, because I know what the problem is.
Right.
Bring me a problem and then say, here's my suggestion.
Exactly.
That I can respect in my everyday life as a city commissioner, as a community activist. If there's an issue and you got an issue, bring me a suggestion.
I'll go one step further. I think everybody's opinion counts. I don't care if it's the janitor, the vice president, the head of food and beverage. You have to get opinions from everybody, and you have to respect people. This is the problem that we have in the world,
right?
Is a complete disrespect for people. Where we come from, we don't dare disrespect the elder, no matter what, because we know the ass whipping we're going to get when we come home, it's going to be serious. But somewhere down the line, we've lost this, and we got to get back to the respect. Like, for example, I don't condone any citizen disrespecting police, and I don't condone police disrespecting citizen. If you wrong, it's not about black or white, it's about wrong and right, and that's the bottom line. You got a couple here, Fats, I'd like you to pick up here. Boy, this kid Bill Francis is no joke.
Francis, if you're sitting in the schooner wharf listening to Michael McLeod, the least you could do is come over here and bring me and Louie and Michael Knowles some, maybe some confidence or something. Bro, hook me up.
He says staycation, my man.
Yeah, for sure. So
take this one right here, Fats. That's my boy's story.
Okay, I think the parade should go on as usual. The vet parade gives thanks to the vets, and the Christmas parade is something for our kids. Michael, let me say this, and I don't want to beat my own chest or blow my own horn here. One of the things that I'm proudest about in my 4 years as a commissioner was that I fully supported the Vietnam Vets Memorial. And a shout out to Jerry Hughes, who is the head of that, because, and I'm so honored by it. On that plaque out there, it says one of the names is City Commissioner Tony Yaniz. So again, vets, if you're willing to stand in front of a bullet for your country, the country needs to turn around and take care of you. Roof over your head, food on your table, great medical care, and the parades, absolutely. I was in my prime during the Vietnam era, and the way that some of our Vietnam vets were treated was totally disgusting. And I'm glad to see that after all these many years, we're starting to give them some credit, and again, being able to support that memorial out there is one of the things that I'll always be proud of. So
absolutely. If you have any questions, this will be the time. Come on in. We're going to answer all questions today. Let me ask you this. What did you learn as a city commissioner?
Don't ever run for office again. I learned a lot. Actually, I was going through the city ambassador program. I don't know if you've been through that.
No, but I know it's fabulous.
You should go through that. Yeah. I learned so much from
anybody
that.
who runs for office should.
Anybody who lives in the city of Key West should go and do the program. It teaches you a lot. And so what did I learn as a city commissioner? I learned that, people think of us as a little cow town. Key West, 27,000 whatever citizens. We are not. Our template for running a city and budgeting, etc., on a smaller scale as a microcosm, it's the same as New York or Chicago. We have a very complex system. I think we have a $50-60 million budget. I'm sure Greg Velez will correct me on that. So I learned as a city commissioner, the most important thing that I learned as a city commissioner is that people don't necessarily need to be right. People need to be heard.
Right.
Sit down with me, and you know me, Louie, I'm from the heart. If you came to me with something and I couldn't support it, I'd listen to you and say, Louie, I can't support it. But you know what? 99% of the time, people walked away with a smile because I was willing to sit down. And I'm not the only one. Those people on the commission do the same thing. We have days where we meet with constituents, community leaders, business leaders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My biggest lesson as a city commissioner is that people need to be heard.
No question. And you're not going to make everybody happy. And if you try to do that, you're not going to be in office long.
And it's heart-wrenching.
Yes.
It's heart-wrenching because, there's times that people are on one side of an issue that you can't support, and you know these people and you love them and you know their heart's in the right place, but you can't. So you know what? It's not an easy job.
It's a tough job.
I know every now and then you give me the old "come on, fat," but no, I'm not running for anything. So.
Fats is going to be on here, God forbid, on Tuesdays, and we're going to get to meats and potatoes.
Sure.
And I think that you have a voice here on the platform with me.
Enjoy it.
And you need to be heard. You know how they said the voice, especially you paid your due. So anybody, let me just say this very clear. If you've got a problem with Fats, you got a problem with me.
Thank you. Likewise.
It's simple as that. Can you give me an update on Duval Street? I know there's some things coming there in the short version.
Yeah.
And we'll get to this on another program.
Sure.
We'll go into it more deep, but basically a lot of people don't even know what's going on there.
Okay. So while I was on the commission, look, Duval Street the way it is today doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work. There's too much traffic. It's too heavy. By the same token, the city of Key West spent $375,000 on a traffic study that told us clearly you cannot make Duval Street a permanent pedestrian mall because that just is a nightmare for Whitehead and Sirens. Okay, so I went out and I did some research. There is a group called EDSA, EDSA Architectural, and they've been doing main thoroughfares like Duval Street since 1968. China, Europe, Savannah, Georgia, parts of North Carolina. And so the program is real simple. You go in and you rip out the sidewalks and the curves and you brick it or you pave it. That's it. That's all that you do.
Gotcha.
This is counterintuitive because traffic is slower, you have less traffic. You know why? Because if Louis C. Rock has no business on Duval Street, he ain't going to go down Duval Street. You still have your trees and your lights, so you really have a sidewalk, so to speak. And the places, and by the way, they've been successful like 97, 98% of the time. Because at the end of the day, when you encourage more pedestrian traffic, it changes the dynamics of the street. You know, I've been going down Duval Street before where I've seen a great shirt on a storefront, Or, hey, I'd like to go in there and have a burrito or something. Oh, wow, man, I can't park, can't find.
Right.
But by encouraging pedestrian traffic, you upscale the main thoroughfare. You and nothing against people who sell T-shirts, nothing against people who sell $1 draft beers, but what you do is you create more art galleries, you create more jewelry stores, you upscale the city. So we spent $175,000 and did a preliminary study with them, and they came up with 3 Duvals: lower, middle, and upper. We know that, right? And so the next move, they were going to work on the middle, rip out the sidewalks, rip out the curves, put in brick, change the dynamics. Then we would do lower, and then we were going to do upper. I recently on Facebook posted a picture from 7 years ago where I ran into Senator Bill Nelson at the airport. A funny story. I go up and I go, Senator, I'm Tony Yaniz, and he said, Jack Spotswood warned me about you. And I said, no, I'll be gentle. By the way, my brother Clayton was there as well. And he said, look, listen, you have a drainage issue with low tide, high tide. He says, I fully believe that this project will be eligible for massive federal grants to do it. And we were going to continue down that path. I was no longer there. A lot of things come up and all of a sudden they fall off the radar. I am now, did I support the mall in Duval? Yes and no. Yes, because it was putting our foot in the pool, see what the temperature was like. But no, because what it did is it disenfranchised those blocks that didn't allow a mall in Duval. In order for a mall in Duval, or, that's not my favorite name for it, but in order to have that, you got to have it from the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. Because otherwise, if you're not in that 2-block or 3-block sector, you kind of get screwed. And again, we're not ready for having a partial close down on Wall Street.
Gotcha. And we're going to talk about this more. We're trying to get to a little bit of different subjects. So we will spend more time on this because there's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm going to go straight to that one. That's Georgie Valdez there.
Jorge.
So you want to answer that one there?
Yeah, I don't know what the question was.
Yeah, there you go.
I
sorry if I missed what's your opinion on the toll plaza idea. So I guess we might as well talk about
it. I'm for it. Just one caveat. Somebody told me that if we did that, we may jeopardize federal road money. If we're going to jeopardize federal road money, we cannot put a toll booth up.
So that's a deal breaker for you.
To me, of course it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the federal money for US 1, we can put 10 toll plazas and we're never going to be able to cover what the federal government gives us. Now,
are we still doing research on that, or is that factual?
I posted something on Facebook the other day and I asked somebody, forget who it was, does this put in jeopardy our federal tax dollars? And I never got an answer. So the big question, I think, for Mayor Heather Carruthers and Mayor Johnston and David Rice and Cold Iron and all these people that are involved in making decisions is, will putting a toll plaza hurt our federal money? If it doesn't, then I think we need to pull a toll plaza immediately.
So anybody has the answer, that has a factual answer on this, you're more than welcome to come on in, because this is how we do it. We get to the meats and potatoes. So you pretty much saying if that federal money is in jeopardy, you don't even have to talk about it no more. You're not for it in any which way, shape, form.
No, unless somebody can tell me that we can generate more money from a toll than we can from federal funds.
It makes common sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know anything about it. I'm just getting the information.
Yeah, and so here's just real quick.
Yeah.
If you're coming down to Key West, Bubba, listen, this ain't Fort Myers, no disrespect. This ain't Cape Coral. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Daytona Beach.
Right. This ain't Miami.
If you come to Key West to stay here and go out to dinner and have a few cocktails, you better bring some money in your wallet. No so charging the $5 fee or whatever it is to come down, ain't nobody going to blink.
Can I tell you something funny?
Nobody going to blink, yeah.
If you allow me.
Sure.
I take Carcel Road. I already pay a toll, so I don't have a problem. I know it's longer, but I like the scenic view, and there's not as much enforcement there, so I pay a toll. But I learned the information, and if we're going to get hurt by doing something, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That, why do something if you're going to be negative on the other side? It just doesn't make common sense. But like I said, we'll get all the information. I want you to take this one from a gentleman named
Chris Webb.
You want to read that one?
Yeah. Has the city?
We lost him.
Has the city established and specialized Any COVID milestones, criteria that need to be met in order for the current curfew and other restrictions to be lifted, or are these restrictions simply indefinite until further notice? I know that I don't know the answers, but I do know that different cities like New York City, and other places have created. If you have a criteria, Dr. Boros can probably answer this. Chris, I apologize. If you have X number of new cases, that allows you to open more.
I know we don't have such criteria. They want to see it at a certain number through Monroe County and the health department. What I do know is that coming up after Labor Day, there's 2 commissioners that want to get back to regular operating hours. They already stated it. They're not compromising on the time. And we need 1 more vote, which is David Rice. If you feel this way, it's imperative that you call 305-289-6000 and tell these people your story. So like that, they can hear from stories, because you got different politicians, different people calling.
Sure.
But when the people speak, like you say, power to the people, and the majority rules, maybe we'll get back to normal, because I'm telling you, we're not going to make it unless we get back in order and understand the challenge. Yes, it's a challenge. No. But in my opinion, enough is enough. We got to get restaurant and bars to the regular operating hours. We have now. If we had cases that are still over the top, or we have a major, we don't see any light in the tunnel. But we cold as ice right now. These are the facts. 1 case, 0 case. We're doing very well compared to what we was, like you said, when we first opened.
Sure. So if you look at it, for example, a country like Italy. You know, Italians actually have a phrase, and I don't know what it is, which is kind of like, I don't give a damn, I'm going to do whatever I want to. And you saw what happened in Italy. So I think that we're going to either move one way or move the other. I think that if we don't get a grip on this COVID, we're going to end up probably moving backwards, whether it's 3 months, 6 months from now. I think that the light at the end of the tunnel is that the medical treatment and the medical facilities and the ventilators and stuff are starting to come on board, so we can do a little bit more openings.
Like we talked about, Dr. Burroughs Advanced Urgent Care, Key West Marathon in Key Largo, they have a new protocol. This is factual. You go in there and it looks like you have COVID. They don't even wait till the result to get back. They give you ivermectin. It's a new drug. We're 99% solid that's worked for people. I think out of almost every case, it's been positive and very quick. And a lot of other places are using it also. So I'm glad, like you, the man believed in that. He didn't wait for somebody else to do it. He did it. And as far as I know, he's the only one that's doing it. But the fact speaks for itself.
Sure.
For example, if you have a family member that's not feeling well and is going to take a turn for the worse, you don't want to be on a ventilator. If you're on a ventilator, you're almost dead. And they tell you, listen, if you take this right here, it's possible, you might have a problem with this or that, but you could also reverse this immediately. I'm thinking you're going to take a shot better than going on the ventilator.
Well, look, my sister-in-law works at a hospital in Las Vegas. She's an administrator, but she's been handling ICU for the last 3 months because of the COVID. Right. And she said, Fat, if people tell you they hate wearing a mask, tell them then they're really going to hate the ventilator.
That's the best thing I heard all day.
So that's part of the reality. I think that we're seeing a lot of positive things. I applaud Dr. Boros for taking the initiative. However, all due respect, Bruce, I don't support hydroxychloroquine. I don't think there's been enough medical information informed with that. And quite frankly, I love Dr. B, but I believe that Dr. Fauci is. That's who I'm listening to, is Dr. Fauci.
Yep. My medical expert that I listen to is Dr. Burroughs, but I listen to everybody. And when I see people come on this program and basically given a medicine, and they come in here and tell their own stories. I don't know if you watch it. And Octavia Lopez just came on, or whatever. She was on the program. She told the story. We had a guy, Kyle, 6'5", 300 pounds. He said he couldn't walk a flight down the steps. He took the ivermectin and he was fine in less than 48 hours. I'm gonna go with that. So Bill Francis says in St. Pete, we'll be back tomorrow. Stop by KW Rum, the Pillar. This man.
Pilar. We gave him some Pilar. My wife works for Pilar.
Building is going crazy. Crackdown on building permits. Traffic is getting crazy. Okay. Let me see who else we got. And Italy has a big spike, unfortunately. And to be honest with you, we don't know if we're going to have a second wind. We don't know. It's unpredictable what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's day to day, moment to moment.
Yes.
I call it a movie. The movie is over. Then I went to Netflix and we're episode 8. Getting ahead of the curve, and that's all we can do day by day. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Let's go to elections in November. Is the November election the most important election of our lifetime, and why?
I would say it's the most important election in the past 40 or 50 years.
Okay.
I think that I'm a firm believer that our country needs 2 very strong political parties: strong Republican, strong Democrat Party. And here's why: because then somewhere in the middle we have great government. And you know what? I've been a Democrat my entire life, but quite frankly, I respected George W. Bush. I respected his daddy. Just because they were Republicans, I did not disrespect them. Unfortunately, what's happened in this country today is us versus them. You're either for Trump, and look, at this point right now, you see all those political ads and stuff they're putting out there?
It's serious.
99% of the people have made up their mind, Louie, at this point. And I make no bones about it. I support Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I picked that ticket out. I told my wife a year ago that it would happen. I think that quite frankly, our President Trump, has created a scenario whereas people are looking to find ways to divide rather than unite. And I never thought I'd say this, but I miss George W. Bush. I miss him because comparatively, he was a guy that you can talk to. My issue with Trump is this: you can't be an expert at everything, right?
Nobody can.
Right. But he wants to be an expert. But I don't want to get into the national politics.
Let me ask you this,
Sure.
and this is probably the $1 billion question.
Yeah.
Million
don't count no more.
No. This is very serious. It's happening right now as we speak.
Yeah.
When will we get these shootings and riots to stop?
Okay.
This is incredible.
Let's go back because again, and I mentioned it before. Clayton and I have been in the civil rights trenches since we were teenagers. And I want to make a point that's really, really important. When I was a city commissioner, I always fought for the budget for our first responders, police and fire, and our city workers. You know what? I truly believe that 98, 99% of all those people that wear a badge are good people.
Of course.
In Key West, I don't have a problem with any of them. But do we have an issue in this country? We have an issue in this country. And here's one of the ways to fix it. If my brother Michael Knowles is a policeman in Miami, and he has a couple of people complaining because he's treated somebody wrong or he roughhoused him and he gets fired, that has to go on a national database.
That's not going on now?
You can't hire him in Cleveland.
Hold on, time out. So I didn't know this. So you telling me that
Michael, you like that?
If you have a strike like that on your record,
you can go. You can work for Dade County and go work for Broward County next day.
That's incredible. I don't think a lot of people know that.
That's incredible. So by the way,
wow.
Here's an amazing thing because I had to actually research it. You know what the definition of systemic is?
No.
Systemic is something that affects all parts of something.
Okay.
Think about that. Think about that. And my God, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Guy got shot in the back 7 times.
Yeah.
Now, you have a guy that's breaking the law, okay? You have 2 big policemen there. Grab him, tase him, handcuff him. I've been involved in many things downtown where a policeman has had an issue. I jump right in, so will you. Right? But instead, they let the guy run to his car, open the door, and they shot him in the back 7 times. Look, there's no argument in the planet that tells me that was right. That was not right. That you kneel on a man's neck for 8 minutes until he's dead, that is not right. But we cannot paint every man, every woman who wears a badge with the same brush. It's just not fair to them.
Well, like I talked about before.
Right.
There are good police and bad police. There are good people and bad people.
There's good dentists and bad dentists.
I'll be honest with you, and I must say this, very serious. I've been in club where, police is trying to do their work when I was younger, and they tell somebody something, and they curse a police officer out.
Right.
when the police react to that and do what they need to do, I don't believe in disrespect on either side or whatever. So I'm not really angry about that. I'm a people person. If the police is wrong, they wrong. If a certain person is wrong, they wrong. I know one thing though we could agree on is has to be a better way. And the start of it is you have to unite people together. This, us against them and all this is no good. If you go out and you when you was on the diocese and you can't work with people, how many things are you going to get done if you don't work with people and listen and try to compromise? You can't get anything. Now, we had a lot of commissioners out there. We're not going to call no names and specifics. Yeah. One that never could work with people, and they was always on the 6-1 vote.
Is he still involved in politics? We won't go there today.
Look, but what I'm saying is we have to have respect, and this is unfortunate. And one thing I'll tell you is, like we talked about here to conclude, is that I think that if we could have anything positive come out of this, when the people protest, I think we should get people registered to vote during them protests and do something positive while that's going on, because you have an opportunity of thousands of people there.
There is, I don't condone violence. I don't condone looting. I'm a big fan of Martin Luther King. And I believe that you have to, it is your American constitutional right to protest if you think things are not going right. Absolutely. But when you start burning and you start looting and stuff, I just cannot condone that.
Yeah, so I'm with you.
I had a friend of mine said to me, he said, Fad, he said, you keep saying Black Lives Matters. Don't all lives matters? Of course they do, right? But there's a great parable, it's a story, and I don't know if it's from the Bible, because I've never spent a lot of time reading the Bible. If we get hit by a lightning bolt here, it's my fault. But the situation was that the shepherd had all his sheep, and he said, "Oh my God, one of my sheep has gone astray." And so Jesus came down and said, "What's wrong?" And the guy told him. So Jesus went out, find the sheep, and brought him back. And then all the other sheep said, "Well, don't we matter?" And Jesus said, "Yeah, you all matter, but the one that was in trouble is that one. All lives matter." But the way people of color have been treated in this country for over 200 years, it's despicable. And I don't want to hear that it's today is different. It's not different. When you hear somebody like LeBron James or somebody say, "I'm afraid of my children driving down the street because they're skinny." Clayton Lopez said something to me one time which froze me, but he was right. He said, "I know in your heart you're as black as I am. But you can walk down the street and run into some Ku Klux Klan and you can act real white and they would never know. But my brother, my skin is black. I can't disguise that." Right. And if you go back and you look at the history of this country, black people have been disenfranchised. It's the only group of people who came to this country against their will. I mean, that's amazing. So, do Black Lives Matter? Yes. Do we need to do something about people that are abusing their badge? Yes. But you cannot paint every policeman, because you know what? And I said this at a speech one year, a service day for people that are policemen or law enforcement. When I go to work in the morning, you go to work in the morning, Michael goes to work in the morning, there's a chance we may not come home because life is a bitch. Right? Got hit by a truck? Right. But when a man with a badge or a man that's a firefighter leaves house in the morning, there's a much bigger chance they ain't coming home, Bo.
For sure.
So you know what? That public service has to be respected. And I will say this, and I talk to a lot of people in law enforcement from all over the country. The large majority of the good law enforcement, the good cops, don't want these rotten apples. They don't want them there.
Let me tell you this. Where it starts also, where we can get a grip on what's going on, you need to vote in November. If you never voted in your entire life, this will be the time. In fact, let me ask you this.
Sure.
How important is this for the city and the county to get on the same page?
I think it's really important, even though sometimes they overlap, but sometimes they have different areas of responsibility. Quite frankly, and a lot of people don't agree with me, I think Mayor Carruthers has done a great job. I think Mayor Terry Johnson has done a great job. And I said this last time I was here. I would not want to be on any commission at this time right now. Probably the hardest time since who knows when, since maybe the missile crisis of 1962, and it's a hard time.
Serious.
But I've always called for having mutual conversations with the county commission and the city commission. You know what the city of Key West needs?
What's that?
City of Key West needs an ombudsman. You know what that is?
No, I do not.
Okay, so we hire Michael to be our ombudsman, right? So Michael's job for the city is, Louie has an issue, Pat has an issue, Joe Walsh has an issue. They don't go to the commission. They have a meeting with the ombudsman.
Okay, so they liaison.
Not only, first of all, you listen to people.
Right.
Second of all, now the ombudsman can go and talk to the commission and not violate the sunshine law. And because here's what happens on the commission. I would go and I said, whatever happened to this? And they'd go, oh, I dropped off the radar. What do you mean it dropped off the radar? You get so much that things goes away. So Terry Johnston, Greg Velez, I don't want the job, but I think you need an ombudsman.
Well, if you had that person here, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in with these goddamn crucials if we had that person. Because I can't say we wouldn't have, but we would have had a better chance to work it out. I think this is great. It's the first idea I heard about that. And Fats will tell you, it's a lot of stuff that we could do that's common sense. Right. It don't take $1 million to do. And I think this is great because that person would be out there talking to the people that have issues,
sure,
and then reporting that from A to Z. Because the commissioners, they're overwhelmed. So it's amazing. So this guy's specific task is to deal with that and deal with the issues,
send it out
and get to the meat and potatoes. Say this is what's going on. We had people were complaining about the mall in Duval,
right,
or this is what's going on. They like this, they don't like that. So I don't think we ever had this. I think that's a great point. Go to Words to Party Key West. You can put all your schedules on there on anything that you got going on. We open the page, so it just don't have to be entertainment stuff. Thank you for FloridaKeysEnergy.com. Lawyers for all accidents in the Keys. If you have an accident, a moped, bicycle, car, God forbid, on that ocean, make sure you go to FloridaKeysEnergy.com. Locals taking care. Locals 302 Southern Street. Advanced Urgent Care Key West Marathon and Key Largo. We got the AUC 89. Finally, some affordable health care. And Paradise Restaurant. Have you found Paradise 124 Duval Street? Been looking for a new spot to eat food for about 20 years. Fats, any closing words? I think we're going to have to put me and you going to put the glasses on.
Yeah. The closing word is simply this. I'm on Facebook, so is Louie. If there's a topic that's near and dear to your heart, please let us know in advance. I hope Louie has me back. I'm thoroughly enjoying being able to reach
World out. According to Fats.
Yeah.
Look how much ground we covered today. We could stay out here another 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. If you have any issue or any topic that you would like us to look into, please send us a message. And we will do the research. And thank you again, Louie, for giving me the opportunity, brother. I appreciate it very much. Michael, great job, brother. Thank you.
Who is Michael Knowles on production, and I plan to have Fats here on Tuesday. And we're going to get more topics, and we're going to get to meats and potatoes on stuff, and we'll continue to do good for the community. Holla!